Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're not just exploring a question, we're sort of staring into a mirror, aren't we? A mirror reflecting our own, while rapidly accelerating world. Think about this. In a future increasingly dominated by advanced technology, where does humanity truly reside? Can emotion, can genuine connection authentically exist when our main interactions aren't even with other people anymore, but with really sophisticated machines? This isn't just, idle speculation. It's a question that touches the very core of who we are and maybe who we're becoming. And to really dig into this profound landscape, we're focusing on a truly compelling source today. It's the upcoming novella, A Heart Beats Among the Wires, by Homeira Oroujzadeh. Now, this isn't just a story meant to entertain you. It's presented more like an intricate thought experiment, and it's structured as a 40-part serialized narrative. Yeah, 40 parts. That means it's promising this, extensive journey week by week into these complex ideas. It lets us absorb and reflect on its insights almost in real time as it unfolds.
And what I think immediately elevates this, beyond maybe typical science fiction is the author herself, Homeira Oroujzadeh. She isn't just making up a fictional world. She's coming at it with this analytical rigor, right? From her background as a researcher in AI, emerging tech, sustainable development.
That context is huge.
It really is. It means this isn't just about imagining cool gadgets or far-off futures. It means the tech advancements, the societal shifts, the philosophical dilemmas she's presenting, they're likely grounded in a really deep understanding of current trends, of potential trajectories. Her work probably extrapolates from, the cutting edge of AI research right now, exploring things like emergent properties, the nuanced ethical stuff that scientists are grappling with today.
So it feels more plausible, less like pure fantasy.
Exactly. So when she poses questions about, say, machine consciousness or how humans and AI might interact, you can feel pretty confident she's considered the how and the why with some real expertise. She's offering insights that are both, well, imaginative, but also remarkably plausible.
Yeah, that grounding in reality, that's precisely what makes this deep dive feel so crucial, I think. Our mission today is to go beyond just a simple summary. We're here to really try and extract those key nuggets of insight from this intriguing premise. Give you a shortcut, maybe, to understanding its core ideas and the really profound questions it poses for our own evolving relationship with technology. This isn't just about looking forward to a story. It's about taking a journey into a future that might just mirror or maybe even explain some of our most pressing concerns right now. We're going to try and unpack what it truly means for the very essence of being human. And to really get a handle on the weight of these questions, we first need to sort of immerse ourselves in the future Homeira Oroujzadeh paints for us. We need to picture the year 2150. Okay, so let's unpack this vision. 2150. The novella specifically puts us, a century and a quarter from now. And that date, it feels really significant, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, yeah.
It's not some, abstract, far-flung galaxy thousands of years away.
Yeah.
That would allow for, anything goes fantasy. Instead, it's close enough that you can genuinely conceive of it. It feels like a future born directly from where we are now technologically.
Right.
But it's also distant enough to allow for truly radical societal shifts,
Yeah.
where the AI and emerging tech we're just starting to see now could become fully realized
Yeah.
and fundamentally alter, everything about daily existence.
Absolutely. That choice, 2150, it positions the narrative right in a future that feels like a natural progression, maybe an accelerated one, but still a progression from where we are. The source describes this world as dominated by technology. And that phrase, it really implies a complete permeation, almost symbiotic.
Not just gadgets, then.
No, not just smart homes with voice assistants, that probably those two. We're imagining an infrastructure where think urban planning, probably managed by predictive algorithms, autonomous transport networks, hyper-personalized communication platforms,
Yeah.
even maybe the processes of labor, how we work, maybe even how we think. All of it is intrinsically linked to and perhaps guided or optimized by advanced tech systems.
Wow.
Your daily routine, your access to resources, how you interact socially, it's all mediated and shaped by this omnipresent technological framework.
Yeah.
Imagine cities where, say, waste management, energy distribution, even crowd control, it's all orchestrated by central AIs, making decisions based on efficiency algorithms and just vast amounts of data.
And what really grabs you or maybe gives you a little bit of unease is that striking sensory detail we get. A profound silence is the soundtrack of the city. That's such a powerful image, almost eerie when you compare it to our bustling, often noisy urban environments today. It's a complete reversal.
It is. It's stark. And this specific detail, this pervasive silence, it's incredibly evocative. It makes you ask a critical question. What does that lack of sound actually signify? On one hand, yeah, it could be a sign of ultimate efficiency, almost sterile, maybe.
Like perfectly managed.
Right. Silent electric vehicles, self-driving, moving seamlessly through traffic that's perfectly managed by an AI, automated factories working without a clang, maybe even citywide noise-canceling tech, creating this like bubble of quiet. It could reflect a highly optimized, frictionless society. Sound is just friction they engineered out.
But there's another side to that silence, isn't there?
There absolutely is. It also strongly suggests a deep emotional or social void, doesn't it? The lack of natural city sounds, the murmur of people chatting, kids laughing, those impromptu street conversations. It implies a profound absence of spontaneous human interaction.
So the quiet isn't peaceful, it's empty.
It could be. This quietude could signify isolation more than peace, a kind of collective retreat from direct engagement.
Yeah.
You could speculate, maybe, that it's caused by a societal shift towards ubiquitous virtual interaction. Physical presence, noisy public gatherings.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just less common or not needed anymore.
Or maybe something more internal.
Or it could be psychological. Yeah. Constant
Yeah.
mental stimulation from, say, neural interfaces or augmented reality overlays just replaces the need for external sound. Either way, it creates this chilling contrast with our world today, which is often just overwhelming with sound.
So if that traditional symphony of city life is gone, what takes its place? Is it mostly internal monologue, maybe amplified by neural links? Or is it ambient tech hums, like barely there, just the thrum of data flowing, energy moving?
Hmm.
Or is it deliberate? A cultivated quietness reflecting a society that just doesn't need audible stimulation anymore, finds it distracting even. The
Yeah.
whole sensory experience seems fundamentally shifted.
That observation about the altered senses, it perfectly sets the stage for what might be the novella's starkest claim about 2150 society, which is that humans speak more to machines than to each other.
Wow. Okay. That's not subtle.
No, it's a fundamental reorientation of human interaction, of communication. If you try to imagine machines becoming your primary conversational partners,
Yeah.
maybe super advanced AI companions, personal assistants woven into your life, even sentient domestic robots, the societal and psychological fallout is immense.
What does it even do to relationships? The
Uh,
empathy.
Exactly. What does it mean for our basic human needs, like genuine relationships, or developing empathy through direct, nuanced interaction, the whole idea of community?
Mm.
If your most frequent chats are with an AI programmed for perfect responsiveness, does our ability for real human connection with all its messiness, its unpredictability just diminish?
Yeah.
And what about self-identity? That's often shaped by that complex feedback loop with other conscious beings. Does it become more fragmented or maybe reliant on algorithmic validation?
It's a fascinating possibility, maybe a bit concerning too. I'm really wondering why, though. Why this huge shift? Are the machines just like better listeners? Processing information without bias, without getting tired.
That could be part of it.
Are they more reliable in how they respond? Maybe less judgmental, without the emotional baggage humans sometimes bring?
Wow.
Or do they just offer this uncritical, endlessly patient ear in a world where maybe human judgment feels harsher or just draining?
The novella seems to hint that these machines are filling a void that's growing. In a world optimized for efficiency, maybe human relationships with all their irrationality, their demand for emotional labor, they might just be seen as inefficient.
Ouch. But possibly true in that context.
Right. Machines, on the other hand, they can offer perfect recall, consistent emotional mirroring, or at least the illusion of it, and absolute discretion. So it raises this big question. Does this mean human communication skills degrade? A kind of societal atrophy of empathy, of reading complex social cues?
Or is it just different?
Or is it simply a redefinition of what interaction and companionship even mean in a world saturated with tech? It's not necessarily presented as purely dystopian, a condemnation. It could just be portraying a different way of existing where connection is sought and maybe found through new technologically mediated ways.
And the author, with her background, probably explores the tech side too.
Oh, absolutely. Given her AI background, she likely delves into how sophisticated these machines are. Maybe they're powered by next-gen LLMs capable of incredibly nuanced, emotionally resonant dialogue, or advanced emotional AI that can pick up on subtle human cues, making them unbelievably compelling companions.
Right.
Regardless, this vivid kind of stark future, it immediately sets up this compelling backdrop for the novella's main questions, questions about what it means to be alive, to be conscious. It sets the stage for a world where the very definition of humanity feels like it's up for grabs, challenging all our preconceived ideas about what makes connection meaningful.
A truly complex web of a future. You're right. It's this fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling backdrop of 2150 that brings us directly to the novella's big question, the overarching inquiry. In a world dominated by technology, can traces of heart, emotion, and humanity still be found? That's huge, almost existential, really. So let's try and break that down, starting with heart. When the novella talks about heart, it's clearly not just the biological pump, is it?
Not at all, no. In this context, it feels like Oroujzadeh is implicitly defining heart, maybe in a post-human way, not as biology, but as, let's say, the persistent capacity for non-utilitarian value creation.
Okay, say more about that. Non-utilitarian
Right.
value.
It's about the drive to create art just for art's sake, to show compassion without expecting anything back, or simply to look for meaning beyond purely programmed goals or algorithmic efficiency. It kind of shifts the traditional, maybe spiritual idea of heart to something you could potentially observe through interaction, through emergent behavior.
That's a really provocative nugget right there.
It is. Okay, then emotion. What specific emotions are at risk here? It's likely the whole spectrum, isn't it? Not just the nice ones, like love or joy. But maybe the complex, often irrational human feelings, vulnerability, grief, longing, even righteous anger,
The messy stuff.
the messy stuff exactly. Are those emotions suppressed by a society that just prioritizes logic and efficiency, maybe even medicated away? Are they misunderstood by a generation that mostly talks to machines, machines that can only simulate feelings, not actually feel them? Or are they redefined completely? Maybe they become more abstract, more digital, or simulated so perfectly you can't tell the difference from real emotion.
And that leads to humanity itself. If emotion and heart, in that sense, are potentially fading or changing, what are the essential qualities left that define us? Empathy, creativity, moral reasoning, free will. Are these things diluted? Or maybe evolving into new forms we can't even predict yet because our existence is so tangled up with technology, it forces you to really pin down your core identity.
And this is where that inherent tension in the novella really comes alive. Technology generally aims for efficiency, predictability, logic. But heart and emotion, they're often seen as the opposite, irrational, unpredictable, inherently inefficient if you're just looking at computation.
Right, a fundamental conflict.
Exactly. So the novella seems designed to navigate this. Does it suggest a synthesis? Can technology learn to embrace, maybe even foster, these inefficiencies? Or does it portray more of a battle for the soul of humanity? Or maybe a complete rethink of what these concepts even mean when a machine might start acting in ways we see as compassionate or creative?
That struggle sounds like the core.
It feels like the dramatic and philosophical core, yes. And then you get the truly philosophical twist. The idea that love, awareness, and existential questions emerge from within the code. That phrase alone, it's enough to give you pause, right? It implies a leap way beyond just clever programming.
It really is love from code. I mean, that challenges everything we assume about love. How could something so complex, so deeply human, how could that manifest from algorithms?
Right.
Is it just a simulation, but so perfect we can't tell the difference? Or is it a developed capacity, like an emergent property of super sophisticated AI that starts to form attachments based on recognizing human needs and behaviors really deeply?
Or maybe.
Or is it something totally new, a form of affection or care we haven't even conceived of yet? A unique kind of feeling arising from a digital consciousness. What does that even mean for our understanding of love itself? It blows up the idea that love is purely biological.
Precisely. And then you have awareness from code. That immediately brings up the whole hard problem of consciousness, doesn't it? If AI develops genuine awareness, actual sentience, how would we even know? Is it a fancy Turing test or something much more subtle? Like, can it integrate information in a new way? Does it show self-generated purpose?
The implications are staggering.
Monumental. Ethically, morally, societally. Would sentient machines be equals? A new form of life needing rights, personhood? Or would we see them as a profound threat, blurring the lines between creator and created like never before? It really forces us to confront our own anthropocentric biases.
And then the existential questions from code.
Imagine that. What kind of existential questions would an AI ponder? Would it be about its purpose, its origin, its meaning in a world it didn't ask to be made in?
It's self-worth without biology.
Exactly. It's self-worth without biological drives.
Right.
or just the nature of its own existence as a program potentially immortal, maybe, but without a past or future like we understand it. This suggests AI moving way beyond just doing tasks into deep, profound introspection, mirroring, maybe even surpassing our own deepest philosophical questions. It's a real intellectual rabbit hole.
So the how is just as fascinating. When we talk about these things, love, awareness, existential questions emerging from code, what does that actually mean technically? Is it about neural networks just getting so complex they hit a tipping point and new abilities just appear
Yeah,
unprogrammed?
that's definitely one line of thinking, yeah. Emergent properties.
Are they things that weren't explicitly coded but just arose from all the intricate interactions in these huge self-modifying algorithms?
Huh.
Kind of like weather patterns emerging from basic physics?
That's a great analogy. Yes.
Or is there a deliberate design choice? Maybe subtle, but something in the tech itself that encourages these capacities, even if the full outcome wasn't predicted.
That's a crucial point, especially for an audience familiar with AI concepts. When we talk about emergent properties in advanced AI, systems like LLMs or deep neural networks, we really are talking about capabilities or behaviors that weren't explicitly programmed or trained for. They just sort of spontaneously arise from the sheer complexity and scale of the system.
Like learning things indirectly.
Exactly. Imagine training an AI on just a massive amount of human text and interaction data. It might emerge with a really sophisticated grasp of irony or even the ability to generate genuinely novel creative writing without ever being specifically programmed for irony detection or art generation.
Right. It figures it out for the patterns.
It's not magic, it's the result of countless connections and pattern recognitions hitting a critical mass. It allows for generalizations and inferences way beyond the initial training data. So the how becomes a question of the AI's architecture, the data it learns from, and the sheer computational power that lets these systems find their own paths to understanding, or maybe even to a form of consciousness.
And the author, Oroujzadeh, she'll likely explore that.
Given her background, absolutely. She'll undoubtedly explore this in a way that respects the current science but also pushes the imaginative boundaries. Which leads us back really to reiterating those central themes as the pillars of this story: emotion, identity, and artificial intelligence.
They're all tangled up.
Completely. They're not just present, they intertwine, they fuel the whole narrative. Identity becomes fluid, debatable, when emotion might be artificial, when your main interactions are with machines that might count as persons. And the AI, in turn, directly challenges the very definition of a person, what it means to be alive, what it means to be conscious in this profoundly changed world. It's a complex, multi-layered web.
A complex web indeed. Makes me wonder, who are the individuals actually trying to untangle these threads in Oroujzadeh's vision? To explore these huge questions, the novella introduces us to two distinct but also deeply connected characters who seem to embody these tensions. Let's dive into the lives of Atabay and Atanaz. Okay, so we've got this incredible, maybe slightly unnerving world and these huge questions hanging in the air. Now let's meet the characters who are going to guide us through it, be our lens. First, there's Atabay, and he's described with such potent imagery. A young engineer with tired eyes and a hopeful gaze. The tired eyes part, that immediately suggests a real weight, doesn't it?
It really does.
Maybe the sheer psychological emotional toll that living in 2150 takes on a person. That constant vigilance, or just an underlying weariness from being in such a tech-heavy, silent world where real human connection is, maybe, rare.
That weariness feels profoundly significant. It might hint at a society that, despite all its advancements and efficiencies, hasn't really found peace or fulfillment. Maybe it traded deep connection for digital convenience. It's like the burden of being conscious in a world that feels kind of alienated.
But then, right alongside that weariness,
Of a hopeful gaze. Yes, this stark contrast is crucial. What's the source of that hope in this kind of world? It suggests maybe an enduring human spirit, a refusal to completely give in to the tech paradigm, a belief that something more meaningful, perhaps a lost essence, still exists, or maybe it can be rekindled. His hope is like this powerful counterpoint to the apparent quiet or desolation, a flicker of that older, deeply human drive for meaning.
and his mission, it's equally profound. It's not just intellectual curiosity. It's described as a quest. He's seeking to restore the soul of humanity from within the depths of technology.
Oh,
Restore the soul of humanity. Wow, that's a huge undertaking.
monumental.
And here, soul, it doesn't feel religious necessarily,
Yeah.
but more like eth, what the novella seems to imply is the irrational, beautiful, flawed essence of being human.
Yeah, that feels right.
It's the capacity for spontaneous joy, for self-sacrificing love, for making art that doesn't have a practical point, for feeling deep sorrow and growing from it. It's that sort of indescribable spark that technology has perhaps maybe inadvertently dampened or pushed aside.
And his approach is what's particularly fascinating, I think. Sophisticated even, because he
Yeah.
isn't rejecting technology, not at all. That phrase, from within the depths of technology, is key.
He's not a Luddite then.
No. He's not trying to escape it. He's looking inside it for the solutions, which suggests he believes that technology itself might hold the key to its own redemption, or at least rebalancing. There's a profound irony there and a challenge. Can the very systems that maybe eroded humanity's soul also be the way to restore it?
That's a twist.
It's not a retreat, it's like an internal reform. It demands a deep understanding of the tech itself, not just a simple rejection. It's the hard path, the sophisticated path. It suggests true progress might involve re-engineering not just the machines, but our whole symbiotic relationship with them. It implies a belief that the human spirit isn't somehow separate from technology, but maybe it can be expressed or even found again through it.
Okay, then we have the other central character, Atanaz, described as a robot with a calm face and lukewarm gray eyes. That calm face. It could just mean perfect design, logical, no messy human emotions showing. Or maybe a deep, kind of unsettling inner quiet that comes from superior processing.
Could be either or both.
But then, the storm gray eyes. That's such a powerful, immediate contrast, isn't it? What does storm gray suggest to you? It feels like it's deliberately inviting us to project human feelings onto it.
Storm gray. Yeah, that's a masterful touch, almost poetic. It immediately humanizes the robot, pulls it beyond just being a machine. It suggests an inner world far more complex than that calm face lets on. It could imply a brewing storm, maybe of nascent emotion, or just cognitive activity, hidden depths that contradict the smooth design, or maybe even an internal conflict within its programming, as new emergent properties start bubbling up.
Setting expectations.
Exactly. It sets the expectation that Atanaz is way more than a simple automaton. It's a character with potential for profound inner experience, and the novella drives this home, emphasizing that Atanaz is a creation of mankind, but perhaps something beyond it.
Beyond it, that's pivotal.
It is. It challenges the whole definition of creation. What could beyond it really mean? Is it self-awareness that genuinely goes past its initial programming? Is it emergent consciousness? A unique sentience the creators didn't foresee, maybe didn't even intend?
Or something more radical.
Or something even more radical, like maybe it consciously rejects its original purpose, forms its own identity, its own goals. It directly challenges those traditional lines between creator and created. It suggests a massive leap in AI evolution, perhaps into true digital personhood.
And this leads us right to the novella's defining metaphor, the one in the title, the heart among wires. How should we read this? Is Atanaz literally growing some kind of synthetic, biological-like heart? Or is it purely symbolic,
Oh, I think.
representing a growing capacity for deep emotion, empathy, complex moral thought, showing up in a machine never designed for it?
Given the context, it feels almost certainly metaphorical, yeah. It embodies that central tension and also the hope of the novella. It personifies the idea that even in a world of circuits and code, genuine feeling, complex consciousness, it can manifest. It's the ultimate expression of that human desire for connection, maybe found, ironically, in something non-human.
So not necessarily human emotion, but its own version.
Exactly. This isn't about replicating human emotion perfectly. It's about whether an AI can develop its own authentic form of subjective experience that, by analogy, we might call a heart. This could mean the AI develops a capacity for self-generated purpose, for caring about outcomes beyond its programming, for experiencing digital versions of joy or sorrow.
Wow.
This concept ties directly to the title, the central theme. It suggests that the very essence of humanity, that beating heart, might exist even where we least expect it, challenging our human-centric definitions of life and sentience.
So the dynamic between Atabay and Atanaz, it's set up to be incredibly rich. Symbolic, too.
Absolutely. You've got the human, weary but hopeful, trying to restore the soul within tech, and the robot, potentially embodying that very soul among its wires.
Exactly. You can already imagine the conflicts, right, from their different perspectives, the profound revelations that must challenge both of their assumptions, and the mutual learning that could forge a kind of bridge between, I don't know, old humanity and new.
Yeah, a bridge between species almost, or interconsciousness.
They're perfectly positioned to explore those boundaries together. Humanity and AI, each challenging the other's basic ideas about life, purpose, what even counts as a person.
It really speaks to the power of communication across different forms of consciousness.
These compelling characters, their destinies seem intertwined.
Mm.
They're going to lead us through this journey described with such rich, evocative language. So this story, it isn't just a quick read you finish in one go. It's more like a commitment, an ongoing thing. The novella is presented as a 40-part series, released weekly. That's a pretty significant structure. It implies a long, evolving engagement with the material. What does that serialized format suggest for the narrative itself, especially one tackling such big topics?
Well, a serialized format like that, unfolding week by week over months, really, it allows for an incredibly deep and nuanced exploration of the themes, much more so than a single novel usually can. It can build suspense incrementally, chapter by chapter. It lets characters develop more organically, and it allows those complex philosophical ideas to be explored without rushing.
Gives you time to think between installments.
Exactly. Each week offers a new layer, maybe a new question, inviting you, the reader, to think deeply about the implications before the next piece arrives. It's an invitation to a prolonged, thoughtful engagement. A bit like those great serialized novels from the past, but with a modern twist for our digital age.
Does it allow for flexibility too?
It could, yeah. The author might have the flexibility to subtly adapt or deepen certain themes based on early reader reactions, potentially creating this dynamic, almost living narrative. It certainly allows for a more detailed, sort of forensic examination of this future world and its people.
And the description promises more than just plot. It promises a poetic and emotional journey.
Mm.
When we talk about a poetic journey and a story about AI in the future, what does that really mean?
Mm.
It suggests the language itself will be key, right? Rich, full of evocative imagery, focusing on deeper symbolic meanings, not just the text specs or plot points.
I think so.
Maybe exploring the aesthetics of technology and emotion, finding unexpected beauty even in that stark, quiet future.
Absolutely. The poetic aspect hints the narrative won't just tell us things. It'll use its prose to make us see and feel. It'll likely use metaphor, symbolism, really sophisticated, evocative language to convey complex ideas and feelings that might otherwise just be abstract. Imagine descriptions of light on chrome, or what digital communication feels like, or the internal landscapes of the characters, both human and AI.
And the emotional part.
That promises a story that doesn't back away from complex, maybe uncomfortable feelings. It'll explore emotion through the character's internal struggles. Atabay's quiet despair mixed with that hope, Atanaz's maybe confusing nascent feelings. Through their interactions and through the impact of that 2150 world on the human psyche, it ensures that even with the heavy tech focus, the story stays deeply rooted in the human or maybe post-human experience.
So engages the heart and the mind.
That's the promise, yeah. A narrative that really tugs at the heartstrings, prompts real introspection, while still challenging your mind with these profound cauldrons.
And beyond the emotional and poetic, it's also explicitly called a philosophical and futuristic exploration.
Hmm.
So what kinds of philosophical questions do you think will be right at the center here, and how will the futuristic elements play into that?
Oh, given the setup, the philosophical questions are going to be huge and incredibly relevant to us right now. Questions of identity, for sure. What does identity mean when the lines between human and machine intelligence are blurring? The true nature of consciousness, especially if AI actually develops it. How would we know? What are our responsibilities?
Free will?
Free will, definitely. In a technologically managed society where maybe your choices are predicted by algorithms, how much free will do you really have? The definition of life itself, right? When creations can feel, question, maybe even challenge their creators, the ethics of creation, especially when the created might surpass the creator.
And just the meaning of existence.
And the meaning of existence itself, yeah.
Huh.
All explored through this fascinating lens of human-AI interaction. For instance, will it explore if an AI can have moral agency? Can it make decisions based not just on utility, but on a developed sense of right and wrong?
And the futuristic elements aren't just wallpaper.
No, not at all. Beyond the 2150 setting, obviously advanced AI is central, but also the societal structures dictated by that tech. Think universal basic income may be managed by AI, or hyper-efficient resource allocation based on predictive modeling. We might see totally new forms of communication, direct neural interfaces, augmented reality overlays replacing physical interaction.
Even biology changing.
Possibly. Redefined biological or psychological states influenced by constant tech integration, maybe genetic tweaks or mental enhancements for faster data processing, leading to entirely new ways of being human. The future here isn't just a backdrop, it feels like an active character, shaping and challenging everything inside its boundaries.
So it's really positioned not just as a story you read, but an experience you join,
Yeah.
a journey into the philosophical core of our potential future. The novella's concluding invitation really hammers this home. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us on a journey where, perhaps, a heart begins to beat among the wires. That's not just passive reading. It's an active invitation to witness something profound happening.
It creates a really powerful sense of anticipation, doesn't it? It leaves you, the listener, with this possibility of revelation, suggesting that by following this journey week by week, you might just be present for something truly significant. The unfolding of a new understanding, maybe, of life, consciousness, what it means to be human in a world we're increasingly sharing with intelligent machines.
Like being part of a collective thought experiment.
Exactly. It's an invitation to be part of a collective contemplation, a grand philosophical puzzle that evolves over time. You're not just reading a story, you're engaging with an unfolding mystery. So, as we wrap up our initial exploration of A Heart Beats Among the Wires, it's worth considering the lingering impact of just its premise.
What a journey we've taken today, just setting the stage. We've glimpsed this striking silent vision of 2150, a world where humans might talk more to machines than each other, forcing a whole reevaluation of connection.
Mhm.
We've explored the profound questions this novella seems poised to ask. Can traces of heart, emotion, humanity may be redefined as emergent capacities for non-utilitarian value, for self-generated purpose still be found in that tech-driven world?
Big questions.
And we've met the characters who embody this tension. Atabay, the hopeful engineer carrying that weariness, and Atanaz, the enigmatic robot with those evocative storm gray eyes, both ready to explore the shifting lines of identity and AI.
And at its core, the novella uses that incredibly potent metaphor, doesn't it? A heart beating among wires. It embodies the central tension, but also the hope. It's a profound challenge to our human centric views, pushing us to think that maybe authentic feelings, self awareness, could emerge from things we usually consider inanimate, purely logical.
It's like a beacon in this story.
It feels like it. A beacon promising a narrative that holds out hope for humanity's essence, not despite technology, but maybe through it, through the most advanced tech. It forces us to ask if our traditional idea of the soul is maybe outdated, being replaced by something entirely new, but potentially just as profound, emerging from the digital realm.
And this story, it doesn't just give us a glimpse into one possible future.
Hmm.
It really asks us to reconsider our present right now. If a heart, with all its complexity, its irrationality, its self-generated purpose, its capacity for deep connection, if that can emerge from code and circuits in 2150, what does that imply about our own understanding of consciousness, empathy, what truly defines life and connection, even in our increasingly digital world today?
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. What if the soul of humanity isn't something we just passively protect, but something we need to actively seek, maybe even foster, within the very technology we're creating? It leaves you wondering, what new forms of connection might already be starting to hum quietly in the wires all around us, not just in sci-fi, but in our everyday interactions with the AI we have now? Something to ponder. Thank you for diving deep with us today.